Now, the two crew members remaining in Dragon are NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore. They completed 286 days in space.
One of the remaining footrests being removed from the Dragon spacecraft. As I said before, we generally try to have the crew members that are located in the two center seats aboard Dragon, and we like to have them egress first if possible, as it creates a little bit more movable working room inside the spacecraft. There is a recovery crew member inside that is helping all of our Crew 9 crew egress or exit from the spacecraft.
We're waiting for Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore after 286 days in space. You have to give credit to Elon Musk and SpaceX. Elon, by the way, as you can see on the screen, is going to be on Sean Hannity's show tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and go over this. He did offer to put this effort into place. It was talked about, as I mentioned, in the joint address to Congress. Homer, this is a big deal as these next astronauts come out.
Just 5 years ago. When
Brad, for sure, never bet against Elon Musk. I've known Elon for over 20 years, and he always comes through on the end. Where, as he says, at least it's going to be entertaining. But I talked to Chris Zembrowski today, who flew aboard the Inspiration 4, which was a Dragon spacecraft. He was not a professional astronaut. He said that capsule was very, very friendly to him. By the way, I'm not only a writer, but also a publisher, and we're going to be publishing Chris's memoir to be called The Accidental Astronaut.
Once again, some elation and cheers there from Butch Wilmore. As we mentioned before, returning to Earth coming from a microgravity environment can wreak havoc on the body. So it is customary and just standard procedure for all of our long-term space residents to get assistance once they are back on board the recovery vessel.
Well, now that Nick, Butch, Suni, and Alexander are safely back home on Earth and getting checked out by the NASA medical team, we're going to wrap up our live coverage of their return. The Crew 9 mission began a little differently than usual since Butch Wilmore and Suni
All right, as this wraps up here, was his history as we saw it, as Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore come back to Earth safely. Final thoughts from our panel. First, Jonathan Seri, as you wrap up this story, they'll be going to the Space Center in Houston, Johnson Space Center, to undergo health checks from here.
Yeah, after they undergo those initial checks on the ship, on the recovery ship, they'll be taken directly to Johnson Space Center by helicopter, and they'll be spending the upcoming weeks going through that rehabilitative therapy. They obviously went through a lot with their extended stay in space, but you see the smiles, the thumbs up. This is what astronauts do. They absolutely love being in space. And what scientists learn from these long-duration space flights will ultimately help us as we prepare to send
I know that some of you don't like the music. You don't like that hard driving rock and roll. But after what you just saw, if you tuned in early, I turned on the stream a couple minutes early so we could watch the splashdown. Well, actually, we didn't get to see the splashdown. We saw the extraction of the astronauts from the capsule. And it gets you pumping. It makes you happy to be an American. So those of you who didn't get to see the whole thing, I've got it standing by. And here's what I'm going to plan to do today. As long as my throat holds up and everything, here's what the plan is. What I'm going to do is we're going to cover the interview with Laura Ingraham and Donald Trump as soon as it comes on, probably in a couple of minutes. Then after that interview runs, then what I'll do is take some comments and then we'll rewind it and we'll watch the entire thing of the thing coming down, the capsule, and then it hitting the water and everything else. And so we'll watch that together. And then if I have time and if my voice holds up, Elon Musk is on Hannity at 9. So settle in. Let's play this by ear. Let's see what happens. It looks as they're doing a handoff right now to go to Laura Ingraham. She has not started the interview yet. As soon as she cranks into the interview, and we're definitely gonna take it in its entirety. You won't miss a single. She's showing the splashdown again. It was just a beautiful day. It hit the ocean so soft with those parachutes. It was simply amazing, simply amazing. So she's showing that right here. You can see it. Let me see if I can show it.
I'm home.
When she comes back, I hope she doesn't keep interrupting him. I don't know if she's got Hannity-itis in terms of what she's been doing, everything with Hannity. But yeah, you need to chill with that. In any event, there's a lot of comments in here about the JFK files being released. And so while they're on commercial break right now, I want to show you guys something. A lot of conflicting information, and even conflicting information from people I would ordinarily trust. I saw this from the Doge designer. He's saying the JFK files have been released. And Benny says, nope, they have not been released. The Department of Justice has ordered National Security to review the JFK files. All right, Nick Sorter says, breaking. The Department of Justice has requested review of the JFK files by national security lawyers per Reuters. Don't know. Then I went to the actual site, and it's dated. Here, let me so you can see that. This is the actual site of the documents, and I see all kinds of stuff here, dated today, as you can see, 3/18/25. Obviously, I'm not going to have time to go through all this while we're sitting here on live, but something's dropped. I don't know if, once again, is it fake stuff or is it the real stuff? I don't know. But I do see a lot of people saying it's been released, but then I'm also seeing people that I trust know what they're talking about saying it hasn't been released. I don't know. I guess you're going to have to start looking and digging in and clicking on that link. The link for the files is archives.gov. Let me see. What I'll do is I'll put it in the scroll so you guys can get to it yourselves. But I don't know. I don't know if these are old files, the same thing like Epstein, or are they new files? You've had 60 years. 60 years to review this. Please don't tell me that the day after President Trump says, here's a scroll with the link right here so you can write this link down. Please don't tell me that the day after President Trump says they're going to be released, you're going to hold them up again. That's 2 strikes. That's 2 big strikes. If this ends up being like the Epstein files, Pam Bondi's going to have nowhere to hide. I was upset about the Epstein. Then I said, you know what? I understand she's got priorities. Then this one came directly from the president's mouth. He said, we're going to go ahead and release the JFK files. And it'll be coming out tomorrow. And it's 7 o'clock, and people just started seeing this stuff at about 6:30, 6:45. But is it the entirety of the files. Is it all blank pages? Is it redactions? It's stuff we already knew? I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. There will be people feeding these documents into Grok and other AI systems to try and extract what kind of data is in here. We can only hope that it is the real data. If it's not, all hell's going to break loose about Pam Bondi. I mean, I don't know what she's going to be able to do. I mean, we're talking crazy town. If this is where we are again, I don't know. I'm not convicting her. But if she has held up these documents as well, something's really wrong. Something's really wrong. I can tell you that. Tell you what, I think Trump is being played like a fiddle. Somebody says, I don't know if he's being played by a fiddle. Stop jumping the gun. I'm not jumping the gun. My statement was and will be, I'm seeing from different people different information. I don't have the information. I'm live right now. I can't go through it. So what I'm telling you is some people say they're released. Other people say they've been held for national security review by the Department of Justice. That is what people are reporting. From that perspective, what I'm saying is if that is indeed what has happened, that is going to be problematic. That's not jumping the gun whatsoever. I've used Grok. There is no smoking gun. Disputing single shooter other than witness testimony from the grassy knoll and more background on Oswald. Don't know. Don't know. My thing is, if she was told to release this stuff and she knew, okay, we're back in the interview. Hold on. So we are watching this live. And Laura Ingraham just said on her show, as you just heard, that they have been released. So I don't know what's there. Good luck. 80,000 documents, 80,000 files, whatever it is, stuff has begun being dropped. So jump in, take a look. Let me know what you think. There's probably just a ton of stuff in there for you to take a look at. I mean, I'm sure over the next 12 hours, there are going to be some people with some crazy programs. They're going to be able to jump in there and tell us what exactly they're seeing. So be ready for that. It's I can't even imagine. But be tempered because we don't know at all what may be in these files. So just breathe. I saw people getting already anxious in there. Leave Pam alone. Hey. Breathe, okay? We're adults here. We can call it like we see it. Hopefully this one won't be a swing and a miss, and there'll actually be some files worthwhile. After 60 years, who knows? Hey, I want to tell you guys, there's something I've been taking. You can see this is actually used. It's not new. It's not some sort of, prop. I actually use this. This is Field of Greens. And when Robin makes this stuff, she makes it with, she'll drop in some fruit. She'll drop in some, yogurt. It'll taste really, really good the way she does it. It's really tasty. So if you'd like to get yourself in a better mood, I'm coming back from a cold, so right away as soon as we got back from the resort, I started taking it, and today's your lucky day. Field of Greens just kicked off a huge St. Patty's Day sale. Get 30% off when you use the code LUCK. We don't always eat as healthy as we should, especially when you're on vacation with the kids, but Field of Greens has your back. One delicious glass is packed with a rainbow of doctor-selected fruits and veggies to support heart and kidney health, metabolism, and more. So even when you go for the burger instead of the salad, you're still giving your body the good stuff it needs. And during this late St. Patrick's Day sale, you can save some green while you're drinking your greens and save 30% on all their popular flavors and their bundles when you use the code LUCK. Whether Field of Greens is already part of your routine or you've been waiting to give it a try, now's your chance to save big. The sale's only on for a few more days, so don't miss out. Go to fieldofgreens.com and use the promo code LUCK. That's fieldofgreens.com, and you can use the promo code LUCK. And like I said, which flavor is this one? This is strawberry lemonade. And I love it because it tastes like a little daiquiri. See, what she doesn't know is sometimes I go in and put like a scoop of fat-free ice cream and make a nice little shake, and it tastes really, really good. So check it out, fieldofgreens.com, promo code LUCK. All right, so while we're waiting for Laura to come back on, let's go ahead and take some comments here, because I can see the comments piling up, and people are like, oh, Barry, we don't know what's in these files. Good luck, read it. Read them. Who's this? Somebody, SV just sent me something to take a look at. Hold on. If SV sends me something, it's usually something pretty good to take a look at. Let's see what he sent me here. All right, so he sent me something here from Grok. And I have to watch the commercial to make sure there's enough time to get to this. I might have to wait. Let's see what happens here. All right, so I'm watching. It says, if you've had time to access the JFK files, can you give me a synopsis? And this was, I don't know if this was actually put in by SV, but some people are asking for it. And I can't read all this. But in summary, the release offers a deeper look into Oswald's background, the intelligence activities, and the government's response. But it doesn't appear to deliver a smoking gun that upends the lone gunman theory. Oh, you guys can't see that. So let me go ahead and move this over. I'm not sure if I have time. I have to be careful so as not to... Anyway, we'll cover it afterwards. But anyway, the release offers a deeper look into Oswald. No smoking gun theory. They're sticking with the lone gunman theory. The files enrich the historical record, yet the core mystery of JFK's death remains. You take it for what you want. All right. That was the AI who went through it very quickly and said nothing new. I haven't read it. I just read what they wrote here. This latest batch addresses some of the last withheld or newly identified stuff, but nothing big. It was the end of her interview with Trump, but both she and Hannity cut away and do other things, and then they come back to the interview. Maybe that was it, because it's 7:30. Maybe that was just a 30-minute interview. That being said, she didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. Hey, are you going to show it? I would rather watch it with you, Barry. Toy, are you talking about the Splashdown? Because if you want me to go with that, I just want to make sure she's done with the interview. If she's done with the interview, then yes, I'll go ahead and cut to the Splashdown, and I'll get set up for that. We will never know for sure because they will not tell us, but we do know what we think, and I'll stick with my belief that it was a conspiracy of grand proportion. I love your comment, Sherry. Here's why I love your comment. You're using common sense. That common sense, as Robin always tells me, it blinks like a radar. You understand your own common sense. That common sense being, if something has been withheld from the public for 63 years, 62 and counting, if it's been withheld for 62 years, there's probably, it walks like a duck, smells like a duck. You can probably deduce from that period, yeah, what we think happened, happened. We can't tell you because it would be a matter of national security. And we don't want people to go crazy. But what would be the other reason? Why would you keep a secret for 60 years? There is no other reason. The reason is it would implicate some agencies or former employees that they don't want you to know were implicated. There'd be no other reason. So I think Sherry was completely right. I have my intuition. I think what I think. And unless you can change what I think, I'm going to keep thinking what I think. Because you acted shady. And I'm not saying Pam Bondi. I'm not saying Trump. I'm saying 60 years of the United States government has been. And nothing has changed. Of course, the files will only show Oswald because the involvement of the government. This is why they can cover their tracks. The only thing I was wondering is that President Trump said there was something really interesting in it. Maybe people haven't dug through and found that part yet. Maybe he couldn't point people to it. His spokesman came out today and said, this is going to be very interesting. And so far, nobody has found what's interesting. It may not be a smoking gun. It may be an allusion to something, but there's no way AI is going to know what to scrub. How's AI going to know what to scrub? It's going to give you a summation. It's going to take people to actually go through page by page by page and go, oh, found something. Here it is on page 15,004. So don't panic yet, and I don't mean even panic. I don't mean the word panic. Don't resolve yourself to it's a nothing burger. Just wait till people go through it, because I'm sure there are teams of people who are going to comb through every single page, look at every single picture, look at the autopsy, look at everything. Let people dig at this point. Let's see, is she going back to the interview? No, it's a NASA press conference, so she may be done. That may be the extent of her interview. Not sure how boring this is going to be, but if it's boring, we'll go ahead and cut, and I'll show you the splashdown. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, so she's going back to the interview. Finally, even she got tired of hearing these nuts. I mean, just crazy. Absolutely crazy that they would do that and not even acknowledge the reason why these people got home safely. Unbelievable. Yeah, everyone knows Elon saved them. They probably got the memo from the lib nuts. Hey, don't mention his name, okay? Nobody needs to know it was his stuff. It was you guys who controlled it all. Yeah. The first guy, he said SpaceX, but he didn't say Elon's name. Admit you did nothing, sir. You did nothing. Oh, man. How could you hate this guy? How could you not be doing everything you can right now saying, hey, Mr. Elon, thank you very much for bringing these guys home. We couldn't have done it without you, sir. We thank you from the bottom of our heart. These people are safe. They now are back on Earth. They're not floating around in a tin can somewhere. Absolutely crazy. Okay, Scott says it's 80,000 pages. Yep, it sounded like a PBS broadcast. It completely one-sided. They didn't want to mention the man's name. All right, so President Trump is indeed coming back on. I wanted you to notice something. If you haven't seen it yet, when Laura Trump had her show on Right Side Broadcasting, it was called Right View. Okay? And now her show on Fox is My View. Did Fox make her change and say, don't say right? Because it's we don't want people to think it's just a right view, that you're actually doing all kinds of stuff. You're going to cover everything. I don't know. I just happened to notice that. Hadn't noticed it before because the commercial just ran. And I know her show on RSBN was called Right View. And this one's called My View. So they made her change that. Unless, RSBN owned the rights to that name, which is possible. They could have said, no, we don't want to share that with you. But it was just something interesting as I was looking down and saw that. Wanted to bring it to your attention. And by the way, as Trump is talking, go ahead and let me know if there are any other breakthroughs or anything that happens with the, not Epstein files, that ain't ever coming, but the JFK files. So we'll just move from there. I've mentioned to you guys before about American financing. I don't know you. I definitely don't know your exact situation. I get a lot of emails from people. But if you're like the thousands of homeowners American Financing talks to every month, you're struggling to keep up, barely making ends meet, drowning in high interest debt. And it's not your fault. Life got more expensive, especially under the Biden administration. Inflation hit hard, and it's still hitting some people. And if you're still carrying credit card balances with 20% or more interest rates, while your mortgage sits untouched, you're ignoring the one thing that could turn it all around for you, your house. And this is where American Financing can help. Would you trade 10 minutes for a shot at saving an average of $800 every single month off your mortgage? Because that's exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. A simple, no-obligation call could change everything. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there's no commission. They're not going to push you into a higher-priced product. And there isn't any incentive to put you into a loan that doesn't make sense for you. And there are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Don't wait. Call American Financing today and start feeling that relief. Call 888-976-5555. That's 888-976-5555. Or visit americanfinancing.net/Barry. So go ahead and take care of that, and it's possible they can help you with your mortgage. Me being in real estate and having bought a whole bunch of houses and resold them and renovated them, I know it means a whole lot to have a source of money that's not expensive that can really help you out. And if you have any questions about them, or you have any questions about the deal that you're getting into, feel free to email me. That's over and above, what I just read for that company. I can help you, negotiate some of these things. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I won't give you legal advice, but I can give you deal advice. Deal advice is free, absolutely free. Let's see here. Laura Ingraham, part 2 of the interview is coming up. Here it is. The Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. I'm not really sure why Laura did what she did tonight. And obviously, that abrupt cut that she had at the end of one of his responses just seems kind of weird. I mean, you got 60 minutes to plan something. Actually, with commercials, you got 48 minutes, probably 46 minutes, depending on the network. And you know going in how much time you have with the President of the United States, but you cut that off to bring Ben on? Doesn't make any sense. Play the interview. That's why you didn't promote Ben, you promoted Donald Trump being on the show. And then you were antagonistic. And then on top of being antagonistic, you kept interrupting him like you were watching Hannity. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. And actually, I'm glad it's over because she was being so adversarial that it wasn't really enjoyable. I did see a couple of things here, and people were like, "Barry, you got a couple commercials." I run a business. This isn't for free. It's free for you, but this is how I earn. I pay the people, pay Ashley. This is what I do. It is a business. Everybody who does this, it is a business. So if you don't want ads, I guess you can pay YouTube to have uninterrupted. They won't put ads on your stream, but be chill with that, man. You have to understand. I don't ask for any money from you. I've never asked, hey, can you pay for this? No, in fact, we give away stuff. Especially, also, with that being said, I wanted to make sure that I have a chance to acknowledge somebody because something happened at the end of the earlier show. And I was already off the air, off camera, and I couldn't turn back on. And this gentleman, James Gaynor, this was fantastic. So I'm acknowledging it publicly right now again. James Gaynor, my brother Barry, we know it must be hard sometimes taking so much responsibility on you, but God knows how we love you for that, and thank you for your love of America. James, thank you very, very much. And yes, it takes a lot of time, and I never complain about the work. I'm sick. I'm not really sick, but I got a head cold going on because I caught it from my granddaughter, and I'm not making excuses. I'm here tonight, and we're going to watch this stuff. And so what I'm going to do right now is, I said I would show you the reentry in case you hadn't seen the reentry. I'll put that on. Here I Barry. She is suffering from anitis. Exactly. I don't like ads. Well, then you must never, ever, ever watch television. Yeah, or you only watch DVR stuff. I think she showed her true colors. Unfortunately, she has. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on my time, what do you call it? My time stampy thing so that I can go ahead, and I've got the reentry queued up that, so you guys can take a look at that and we can watch it together. Let me do this. Oh, I know what I have. I have this from Pam Bondi from earlier today. Kind of interesting. After everything that's happened with the JFK files and after seeing the President Trump's interview, I want you to take a listen to this as she talks about what happened yesterday with the judge. Big. That's big. I wanted you to hear that. She said it on Fox. Are you going to keep doing these flights? Yes. Yes, we are going to continue doing it. So nobody has used the actual word. Nobody has said we're going to ignore the judge. Nobody has said those words, but they're ignoring the judge. Are we going to continue these flights? Yes, we are going to continue. So you can play with words all you want here, but it's obvious at this point that Trump has decided to, quote, ignore the judge. You can't have it both ways. I'm okay with it. That was some strong language. Excuse me. That was very, very strong language. What did you get from that? I got from it that it's balls to the wall. Just keep going. We're not going to say we're ignoring the order. We're never going to admit publicly we're ignoring the order. But we're just going to keep flying these planes. Only thing I would say to Pam Bondi is I completely support you doing that. My only problem is at this point is give him the double barrel salute, as Dan Bongino had said, and accelerate him. Do more. Do more. Fly him double. Get a jumbo jet. Whatever you got to do. Get him out of here. That's what we should do. So I'm going to put on this is pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, some people, I put up a poll, say go ahead and play this, and I want you to see this, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll comment on it as well. But this is the re-entry of the space capsule as it comes in, and the people from NASA. I've got it queued up, and let's take a look at it because this is history in the making, and at least we know as we're watching this. This is actually congratulations to Elon Musk. Take a look.
With all that being said, let's take a minute to meet our returning crew. U.S. Space Force Colonel Nick Hague is your Crew 9 commander. He was selected by NASA as an astronaut in 2013. This was his second spaceflight to the International Space Station and third launch overall. He spent 171 days in space with Crew 9 and has a career total of 374 days in space. During his mission, he completed a spacewalk with astronaut Suni Williams. That was his fourth spacewalk, earning him a career total of 25 hours, 56 minutes of spacewalking time.
Like it's a football
Before
game.
Crew 9,
it's cool
Haig previously served as a crew member of Expedition 59 and 60 back in 2019. He flew with Alexei Ovchinin and NASA's Christina Cook. So this is his second time sharing the space station with Ovchinin. The Kansas native is a test pilot and distinguished graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. Nick spent 5 months in Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He voluntarily transferred from the United States Air Force to U.S. Space Force in 2021 and is an active colonel. His wife, Katie, is a retired U.S. Air Force colonel, and they have 2 sons.
NASA astronaut Suni Williams is a mission specialist for Crew 9. This was her third visit to the International Space Station. She originally launched aboard Boeing Starliner spacecraft and arrived at the space station on June 6th. Following the agency's decision to return Starliner uncrewed, she became an Expedition 71 and 72 crew member, where she logged 286 days in space on this mission. But Suni has a total of 608 days in space, the second most time in space by a U.S. astronaut.
5 minutes until predicted calm blackout. We'll see you on the other side at 21:51.
21:51. Talk to you soon.
And with that call out from the crew operations resource engineer to Commander Nick Haig, letting them know that everything is looking good ahead of the loss of signal period. We will see the crew on the other side of the loss of signal period at 2:51 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. Continuing on about Suni Williams, who has a total of 608 days in space, the second most time in space by a U.S. astronaut. Former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson actually ranks first for the U.S. with 675 days in space. Suni conducted 2 spacewalks and has completed 9 over the course of her career for a total of 62 hours, 6 minutes of spacewalking time. She ranks 4th on the list of cumulative time spacewalking by a female astronaut, and she has flown on 4 different spacecraft types, including the Space Shuttle, Soyuz, Starliner, and now Dragon. Previously, she served on Expedition 14 and 15 in 2006 and 2007, and again with Expedition 32 and 33 in 2012. She's a retired U.S. Navy captain and is a proud graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy and was the first astronaut to run a marathon in space.
Pretty awesome stuff. Now, NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore is also serving as a mission specialist today. This is his third spaceflight and, just like Suni, logged 286 days in space. He conducted 1 spacewalk and completed 5 over the course of his career, earning him a total spacewalking time of 21 hours and 2 minutes. He's flown on 4 different spacecraft types throughout his career: the Space Shuttle, Soyuz, Starliner, and now Dragon. Previously, the Mount Juliet, Tennessee native served on STS-129 in 2009 and Expedition 41 and 42 from 2014 to 2015. Wilmore is also a retired captain in the U.S. Navy.
Next up is Alexander Gorbanov, who is the third mission specialist serving on today's mission. Crew 9 was his first space flight to the space station, earning him a total of 171 days in space over the course of his career. Gorbanov, along with Nick Haig, saw the arrival of 4 visiting vehicles and saw the departure of 4 as well. The duo orbited the Earth more than 2,700 times since September. Before his cosmonaut selection in 2018, Gorbanov worked as an engineer for a rocket space corporation and helped support cargo spacecraft launches from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. So if you are just joining us, we are continuing to bring you live coverage of Crew 9's return to Earth following their mission aboard the International Space Station, where they completed science and research investigations. We are targeting splashdown off the coast of Florida at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time. The next major milestone that we'll look ahead towards is what we call loss of signal, or LOS, when we won't have communications with the crew because they will be re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. And during this process, there is plasma that builds up around that heat shield, so we are not able to communicate with the crew, but we are anticipating to regain communications with the crew at a short time from now at 2:51 p.m. Pacific time today.
As we said before, everything continues to look good for the return of the Crew 9 team. We are about to go into that period of loss of signal. Once we get views of the crew inside the capsule, once again, we will be sure to bring those to you. But that period of time is when plasma is building up on the exterior of the capsule, generating heat in excess of 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are unable to communicate or command the spacecraft at that time. And that includes, unfortunately, video feeds as well. So as soon as we get the views back inside Dragon, we will bring those to you. But until then, we are going to stand by and continue to monitor the progress of Dragon. Like Sandra just said, we are anticipating the blackout period to begin at 2:51 p.m. Pacific time, 5:51 p.m. Eastern time. This will last for several minutes. It's not super exact, even though we are predicting acquisition.
Okay, so while she's waiting for a re-entry, since this was taped, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and so we don't have to listen to nothing. Because nothing happens for that 5 minutes of time that she was referring to. And now I have fast forwarded, and you can see this thing out in space getting ready to come flying down.
Urged. Expect nominal altitude for drogue chute deployment.
We're about 2 minutes away from deployment of those drogue parachutes. Now the heat shield is continuing to work to slow the vehicle down. That entry period, the Dragon spacecraft went from orbital velocity about 17,500 miles per hour down to about 350 miles per hour. So it really gives you a sense of why that plasma builds up on the exterior of the capsule, thanks to the heat shield and the work that it does. Those drogue parachutes will slow it down from 350 to about 119 miles per hour. We can see
15 kilometers. Brace for drogue window.
We can see seat rotation happening inside the capsule. Great to get those first views of our crew members. Once again, the capsules are going about 350 miles per hour when the drogues are deployed. Those drogue parachutes that we manufacture here in-house are going to slow the spacecraft down to 119 miles per hour. And that is when we will see the main parachutes deploy, and that occurs about 6,000 feet above the ocean's surface.
And we are expecting drogue deployment at 2:53 p.m. Pacific, so we should see it any second now. And there you are getting a great view of Crew 9 inside Dragon Freedom as it returns back to Earth. We are awaiting the drogue deploys. This view coming from the WB-57 high altitude plane. And there you see it on your screen, drogue deployment.
Drogue descent rate nominal.
You can hear the crowd here.
Visual on 2 healthy drogues.
The crowd here very excited as Dragon Freedom continues to make its way back to planet Earth.
What a shot. Wow. What a shot. That's amazing.
Next up, we'll stand by for the main deployment of the parachutes. The mains are quite a bit larger. You'll be able to notice the difference on your screen once they deploy, and they continue to ensure that the Dragon spacecraft slows down even further. As we mentioned, Freedom will be traveling 16 miles per hour when it splashes down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, here at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. And there we go.
We have visual on 4 healthy mains.
That view was from inside.
Freedom copy.
That view was from inside one of the buckets where the parachutes are located. So we see a great view there of the reefing on those parachutes. And as those main parachutes begin to inflate fully, 4 beautiful, healthy mains. Now awaiting visuals of Splashdown.
Freedom, 1,000.
We'll start to hear Commander Nick Hague.
Copy, 1,000.
As we heard right there, Commander Nick Hague will be calling out the altitude of the Dragon capsule from here on out. Landing in water is simpler and provides more margin against unlikely parachute issues. You can see those parachutes continuing to slow the Dragon capsule down.
And if you're just joining us, you're looking at
800 meters.
a live view of Crew 9, just minutes away from splashing down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Splashdown 2 minutes from now at 2:57 p.m. Pacific. We do have 4 healthy mains really doing the job there. Just breathtaking views of a calm, glass-like ocean off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Crew 9 just minutes away from splashing down.
This is really such an incredible shot. That
Copy,
was
600.
That was a live view from our recovery vessel, Megan, which is stationed a couple miles away from the splashdown site. We can see the crew there using their restraints as resting places for their arms. They were just in space moments ago, so their arms were able to float freely.
400 meters.
This is a gorgeous bluebird day here that we have for the splashdown of Crew 9. It's incredible to think that the Dragon capsule just minutes ago was going over 17,000 miles per hour and now gently coasting to a soft splashdown.
200.
Copy, 200 meters. Brace for splashdown.
As you can see there on your screen, continuing to monitor progress of the Dragon spacecraft.
Necessary.
In the distance, we can see the recovery vessel making its way.
Copy, you're in section 2 for the environmental assessment in 4.800. That is not necessary today.
Understand. Raising 5.
So we will continue to have communications between the Corps and Nick Hague, the commander of Crew Dragon Freedom, which just splashed down 2 minutes ago off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Dragon Freedom has returned home with NASA astronauts Nick Hague, Sunny Williams, Butch Wilmore, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunoff. They're back on Earth after approximately 17 hours of a return journey from space.
The SpaceX recovery ship and team have been waiting for Dragon's splashdown, and they will now make their way to the splashdown location. The teams have been ready and waiting about 3 nautical miles away, so it's going to take them about 30 minutes or so to make their way
And
to
SpaceX Freedom. Pretty sure we're in stable 1.
Copy, stable 1. We see the same.
It's going to take about 30 minutes for the recovery team to make their way over to Nick, Sunny, Butch, and Alexander, who are still seated and secured inside that Dragon spacecraft there on your screen. Incredible views there of that thermal protection system, or TPS. That Dragon capsule was pristine, white color before it departed the station, and we can see how the reentry phase, the thermal protection system did its job. Now, if you're wondering what that hole, that like bucket area is, that is underneath the side hatch. That is where the main parachutes were stored. So when we saw the Dragon capsule docked at station, it looked very different. The panel that protects and covers the main parachutes, that was still intact, as well as the panels that enclose where the drogue parachutes are located. We can see those fast boats.
SpaceX is go for recovery personnel to approach. Expect personnel alongside in the next few minutes.
Freedom copies.
We can see those fast boats. We weren't kidding when we said they were fast. While it does take about 30 minutes for the main recovery vessel to make its way over to the capsule, these fast boats will be doing a couple of things simultaneously. A couple of them are going to be working to retrieve the parachutes that you see in the background there of this drone shot. Those parachutes will be retrieved from the ocean surface. We want to make sure we are able to pull those out. The recovery vessel there closest to the spacecraft is going to be performing some safety checks. We can see there they're using an instrument that is basically working to detect if there are any hypergolic vapors or fumes that are still residing in and or around the Draco thruster nozzles or outlets. The hypergolic fuel, which is necessary for on-orbit burns to maneuver the spacecraft. Unfortunately, those hypergolics are unable to be breathed. They are toxic, and so this team here is doing those initial safety checks to make sure that it is safe for the rest of the recovery team to approach the spacecraft. They're also checking to make sure that any residuals from the pyros are safe and are not going to cause any issues. We can see the team working their way around the spacecraft to do these these sniff tests on all of those Draco thrusters.
And as we continue to await the recovery of our Dragon spacecraft with NASA astronauts Nick Hague, Sunny Williams, Butch Wilmore, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov inside, Dragon has autonomously completed several steps to safe itself following splashdown. We are continuing to see Dragon in what is known as stable 1 configuration. That's kind of the ideal configuration following splashdown. It's upright, and the Dragon capsule is in the right configuration for it to be hoisted into the recovery vessel Megan, which you do see a little ways off in your screen approaching. Dragon will continue to remain live on air with you through that recovery process, all the way through the point where the crew is extracted from the Dragon spacecraft. Now, if you are just joining us, the mission has gone smoothly so far. Dragon successfully splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida at 2:57 p.m. Pacific, 5:57 p.m. Eastern Time this afternoon.
Approximately 17 hours prior to splashdown, Dragon autonomously undocked from the International Space Station, completed a series of departure burns, jettisoned its trunk section, and performed its final burn, the deorbit burn. This placed the Dragon spacecraft on a trajectory toward Tallahassee, Florida. Dragon successfully re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, followed by deployment of its parachutes to slow the spacecraft down to a gentle splashdown. We're now going to follow the
Freedom. Hypergol sweeps and unfired ordnance checks are nominal. Rigging is in progress. Approximately 25 minutes until capsule lift. Stand by for PMC with SpaceX flight surgeon.
Freedom copies.
And so what we did just hear there was communications that those hypergol checks were complete. They didn't find any of that upon those checks, so we'll continue to move through the timeline. Next up is a process called rigging, which you see happening right now on your screen. This is when a SpaceX recovery personnel actually works to climb aboard the capsule and work through procedures ahead of lifting onto the nest of the recovery vessel Megan. We heard it's going to be about 25 minutes or so until that lift actually takes place.
Okay, Freedom, the next call will be from the SpaceX flight surgeon on Dragon to Ground Private.
Understand. Thank you.
Callouts there indicating that the crew will have the opportunity to do a quick check-in with the SpaceX flight surgeon. This is standard procedure for every Dragon spacecraft when it returns to Earth. It's just an initial check-in, make sure everybody is doing okay. They will also have another check-in with the flight surgeon once they are on board that recovery vessel that you see there in the background. We can now see that SpaceX recovery team member. They're on top of the Dragon spacecraft. They are going to be working to install plugs in the Draco thrusters to ensure that none of those, and to ensure that no more hypergolic fumes or vapors come out from the spacecraft. They'll also place harnessing around the spacecraft that are required in order to lift it out of the water. Go ahead, Sandra.
Continuing to get some views of the recovery personnel, both the main recovery vessel, Megan, as well as some of those fast boats that we've discussed previously. It looks like just a beautiful day there out off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Weather was pristine. We were able to get undocked from the International Space Station as expected at 10:05 p.m. Pacific time yesterday evening, and Crew Dragon has since completed steps ahead of its splashdown at 2:57 p.m. Pacific, and we're now stepping through procedures to get Dragon hoisted up onto the Megan recovery vessel and get the crew extracted out of the spacecraft. And you did see some of the parachutes that were near the spacecraft. Upon detection of landing, Dragon automatically releases those main parachutes to prevent wind from pulling the spacecraft. Dragon then automatically safes any pyrotechnics that may still be present on the vehicle and may automatically perform additional minor system reconfigurations. The astronauts will remain seated and in their suits at this point, but the onboard air conditioning keeps things temperature controlled inside the spacecraft so the crew remains comfortable, and the communication systems.
Freedom, SpaceX, ComCheck.
SpaceX, this is Freedom. We have loud and clear.
Copy that, Freedom. Have you loud and clear as well, and Dragon to Ground is no longer private.
Understand, thank you.
As we saw there on the screen, we have a couple of fast boats in the recovery fleet that have quickly moved into the splashdown location. They are being followed by one of the main recovery vessels, which will move into position upwind of the spacecraft. The two fast boats have very specific roles. Excuse me. The first approach is focused on immediate safety inspection, as we saw. They do this for spacecraft integrity and checking for any presence of those hypergolic propellant vapors. And this ensures that it is safe for the recovery vessel to approach Dragon. Once Dragon is cleared for full approach, as we heard is the case today, the team begins rigging the spacecraft for water recovery by the recovery ship. The second fast boat is responsible for parachute recovery and also serves as a redundant boat to the first one that makes the initial approach to the Dragon spacecraft. As we saw a little bit earlier, we were also able to see one of the recovery team members get on a jet ski to help gather up the parachutes that were automatically detached from the Dragon spacecraft upon splashdown.
And it will take a little over 10 minutes for the recovery crew to complete their safety checks. Once complete, the team will begin preparing Dragon to be lifted, and as you see, they are preparing for that to take place at this point. As part of the preparation for this lift, one member of the recovery team has climbed on top of the spacecraft already so they can attach Dragon's hoist rings and connect to the lifting lines. It will take us less than an hour to raise Dragon to the recovery boat and remove the crew from the spacecraft. After medical checkouts, the crew will return to land within 4 hours by helicopter. And if no additional medical assistance is needed, the crew will board a waiting NASA plane and depart for Houston. And as we continue to await Dragon to be hoisted up onto the ship, we have a very special treat. NASA Public Affairs Officer Jaden Jennings, who is actually on the recovery vessel and had a bird's eye view of the splashdown today. Jaden, how are you? How was the view from the recovery vessel?
Hi, Sandra. How do you hear me?
I've got you loud and clear, Jaden. It's so great to hear you.
Awesome. So Splashdown, Sandra, was nothing short of
be advised.
spectacular.
We are transitioning the forward link. Comm will be unavailable for approximately 5 minutes.
Freedom comes.
Thanks so much, Jaden. We did just have some communications letting us know that we'll have about a 5-minute period where we won't be able to hear from the crew. So please go ahead, tell us, how was the view from the recovery vessel?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was mentioning earlier, Splashdown was nothing short of spectacular. And we were stationed about 1.5 nautical miles away from the splashdown zone and had great visuals here on the recovery vessel Megan. We actually saw a little of the smoke trail as the spacecraft was coming in. And then moments later, we spotted those drogue chutes, and this was quickly followed by 4 healthy white and orange main parachutes. We then tracked Dragon all the way down as it slowly propelled into the ocean. And I think I speak for all of us on the ship when I say a new core memory was made today, and we are looking forward to having Crew 9 on board with us a little later.
Jaden, that is amazing. Now, obviously, we are watching it here on camera, and the landing conditions look pretty good, but how was it from your perspective? What is the sea state out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've had optimal conditions for splashdown, and today it is sunny and 63 degrees outside right now with clear skies, light winds, and calm seas. The sea looks absolutely beautiful right now, and light blue with the sun reflecting from it. And Kay, I think the crew's going to like what they feel weather-wise on this picture-perfect day for splashdown off the coast of Tallahassee.
Thanks so much, Jaden. It certainly looks like a beautiful day. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey of the recovery forces to get to this point?
Sure. So one unique aspect of this recovery was the onboard training on station conducted for Butch and Sunny to ensure they were ready to return on a Dragon spacecraft. That training covered all aspects of their return, including nominal and contingency departures, deorbit burns, splashdown, and post-landing ops, which is what this team is preparing for now. As for the recovery teams themselves, we started the day taking a series of helicopters out to the vessel. And as standard, the recovery director and crew support teams were on that first helicopter out and took the time to get everything prepared on the ship. About 2 hours before splashdown, they deployed those fast boats and jet skis into the water. I was actually on the second helicopter out, and we were on the vessel about an hour and a half before splashdown and landed on top of the helicopter pad on the Megan. And the teams have been working diligently across their respective disciplines this week, executing what can only be described, in my point of view, as a logistical masterpiece, just ensuring every detail has been in place for Crew 9's return.
That is such great news. I'm so glad that you're able there to experience it in person. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what's next to retrieve the crew for the recovery personnel on board?
Yeah, Kate. So coming up next, Dragon will be hoisted into the on-deck translation system, or the nest, at the aft end of the ship, and then will be translated pretty quickly towards that egress platform. We'll perform another series of safety checks as final precautionary measures just to make sure there are no hypergolic vapors present before opening that side hatch. And then once that side hatch of the spacecraft is open, the crew will be assisted out of the capsule one by one from NASA and SpaceX.
Freedom, SpaceX, comm check.
Freedom's got you loud and clear.
Thanks, Nick. I've got you loud and clear as well. We have completed our forward link transition.
Copy.
And Jaden, if you did just want to go ahead and let us know what is next to retrieve the crew. We are continuing to get some great views on our screen, but I know you have an even better view yourself.
Oh, yeah, Sandra, this view is absolutely unbeatable. So just to kind of finish off what I was saying is once that side hatch of the spacecraft is open, that crew will be assisted out of the capsule one by one from NASA and SpaceX medical personnel, where they will then head to the med bay. And after those medical checks, they will get on that first helicopter out and arrive at the airport, where they will then board a NASA plane and then head back to Houston, Texas at the Johnson Space Center to begin their post-flight period. And we're eager to see the Crew 9 astronauts back on Earth, and we'll keep you updated on every moment of this process. And with that, I'll toss it back over to you guys in Hawthorne.
Thank you so much. That was Jaden Jennings, NASA Public Affairs Officer, who watched Freedom splash down firsthand from the recovery vessel. Megan, thanks so much, Jaden. So we are continuing to get these great views on our screen here of Freedom. As we mentioned, it splashed down at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. The recovery personnel are continuing to step through procedures to hoist Dragon onto the recovery vessel Megan there, which is now coming into view. You can see just how close Megan is at this point. And that's that helicopter pad that Jaden was just discussing, where the crew will fly off of onto the coast of Florida, and then eventually they'll fly back to Houston.
Just underneath that helicopter pad is that translation deck where we will see the nest once it is loaded up with the Dragon spacecraft on board. The nest will be translated to the forward end of the recovery vessel, and that is where our Crew 9 team members will egress from the Dragon spacecraft. Now, here on your screen, we can see dolphins, actually, who want to come and play with Dragon. Now, one of the fast boats there in place, working to assist the recovery team member. It's incredible. I just love these views. We really see them even better in the daytime. But just seeing the recovery team work in tandem to step through each step, to step through each operation. Obviously they're getting quick assists from the honorary part of the recovery team, those dolphins in the water there. Now, the recovery team member that is crawling around the Dragon spacecraft. Earlier, we saw a view where it was like a spider monkey pose. We can see that individual now standing in the bucket where the main parachutes were stored while Dragon was on orbit. Obviously, those main parachutes were utilized for Splashdown today. They were deployed and cut from the Dragon capsule, and one of the other fast boats of the recovery team working to pull those out of the water. Now, the recovery team member that is there working on top of the Dragon capsule. Earlier, we saw that person performing safety checks. Now we can see some harnessing being placed around the capsule. This harnessing is what will be used to lift the Dragon capsule out of the water and onto the recovery vessel. Wow, we got a cute little pod of dolphins. It wasn't just one or two.
I mean, that water just looks beautiful. We had ideal splashdown parameters today. Obviously, wave height, ne'er a concern. The weather is beautiful, as Jaden mentioned, in the 60s, sunny. Looking forward to seeing Crew 9 exit the capsule here shortly once they get hoisted onto the recovery vessel Megan.
We can see that recovery vessel slowly but surely closing the distance there between... Oh, dolphin cam back again. We can see that the Dragon capsule and the recovery vessel, that distance is closing. Again, this is just one more step as we continue to work recovery operations for Dragon Freedom, and we anticipate the lift of the Dragon capsule to occur here in just a few minutes. Now, once all of the rigging is on the capsule and it's hooked up to the recovery vessel, we will see the hydraulic arm, which is that kind of like bridge-like structure there at the aft end of the recovery vessel. We'll see that articulate backwards, and that's a good sign that we're getting even closer to pulling the capsule out of the water. It will then move forward and The capsule will be placed inside of what you can see there is basically a basket. We call it the nest, dragon nest, where that's where the capsule will be placed in order for it to be translated to the forward end of the vessel and for the astronauts to egress.
And before that does take place, we'll have potentially views of the rigger go ahead and jump off of the spacecraft there.
That typically occurs when the spacecraft is a little bit closer to the recovery vessel, and we usually get a really good view of that particular operation from one of the onboard cameras from the recovery vessel. That is an operation that I have a lot of respect and admiration for, that individual that does that.
So again, Dragon continuing to get closer and closer to the recovery vessel, Megan. You see some of those ropes now coming into view as well. If you are just joining us, Crew 9 Splashdown off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time with NASA astronauts Nick Hague, Butch Wilmore, Sunny Williams, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunoff. They're now working through procedures to hoist this spacecraft up onto the recovery vessel Megan.
We just saw that hydraulic arm get lowered into the lifting position. That arm will be the mechanism that is utilized to lift Dragon up and out of the water and into the nest located there at the aft end of the recovery vessel.
And the recovery vessel being used today is, as we mentioned multiple times, is named Megan, but that's actually after NASA astronaut Megan MacArthur, who flew on Crew 2 a couple of years ago. We're getting some views now from actually inside the boat.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This view is straight down the recovery vessel. That platform that was closest to the camera, that is the egress platform.
Freedom. Rigging is almost complete. Approximately 5 minutes until capsule lift.
Great news there from SpaceX Core. So about 5 minutes left until we see Dragon Freedom get lifted out of the water. That hydraulic arm, as I said before, is the mechanism that will lift it. It's quite swift, actually, the whole process of getting the spacecraft.
Brace for capsule lift.
Bracing.
There it goes, Dragon Freedom being lifted out of the water and onto our recovery vessel, Megan.
So once securely on...
Welcome aboard the recovery vessel. Recovery personnel are completing final checks and stand by for translation to the egress platform.
Freedom copies.
Great news there, letting us know that Dragon Freedom has been successfully recovered from the water's surface. If you've just joined us, we had an on-time splashdown at 5:57 p.m. Eastern Time, and we can now see that the water recovery operations are continuing to progress. The nest where the Dragon spacecraft is located is going to get moved forward. This will happen after one of the recovery crew members does some checks, and we'll also see some hosing. Obviously, the spacecraft splashed down in salt water. Salt water is corrosive, and we want to try and rinse out as much of the salt water as possible to reduce that corrosion on the metallic structures. So we can see some guidance there being provided, really steering the spacecraft properly into the Dragon's nest.
And it's been 30 minutes since Dragon splashed down, and as you can see there, the spacecraft is already on board the recovery vessel Megan. Things continuing to move very smoothly today throughout the entire operations from the deorbit burn up until this point as well.
And Freedom, it looks like the positioning wasn't quite right, so they are working on repositioning the capsule in the nest now.
Okay, copy that. Thanks.
And with that, the team is just going to adjust the Dragon spacecraft a bit so that it's in the right position ahead of translating up a little bit closer ahead of the side hatch. So the team is now going to step through the procedures to ensure that that takes place.
While Dragon does fly itself autonomously, it clearly is unable to park itself autonomously. We want to make sure that the Dragon capsule is properly seated there in that nest. Once Dragon is fully seated in the nest, we'll probably see a bunch of that salt water come out from the bucket there located underneath the side hatch. See some salt water splash out. As I mentioned before, one of the recovery team members will begin hosing down the exterior of the spacecraft.
So you are continuing to get some great live views on your screen of Crew 9, which includes NASA astronauts Nick Hague, Sunny Williams, Butch Wilmore, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, who splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. Now working to get that spacecraft situated in the nest. Just making some final adjustments and tweaks to ensure that it's nice and secure.
Once the spacecraft is seated and secured and oriented correctly in the nest, Dragon will be moved into the hangar located underneath that helipad that we saw earlier from the aerial views during recovery.
All right, Freedom, looks like you are settled into the nest now. Team is working through hypergol sweeps.
Copy all.
Call out there telling us that the recovery team is doing the second round of those hypergolic sweeps. This helps ensure that everyone, all the recovery team members that are located basically right where this camera is located on, towards the forward end of the recovery vessel, that they will all be safe once the spacecraft is translated forward. So we're just doing some additional steps to make sure that the hypergolic propellant that is utilized for maneuvering the Dragon capsule while on orbit, making sure that none of those vapors are still present on the exterior of the capsule.
That's right. And there are a variety of individuals on board the boat that help with recovery operations. Not only do we have the recovery personnel that you see here, but we also have a doctor that will check out the crew members as standard procedure. As with any spacecraft that is returning from space, we always perform a medical check with the crew. So you will see the crew come out of the capsule and be placed on stretchers. Just like with the Soyuz landing and with all of our Dragon splashdowns, that is the nominal procedure. We'll stand by to see Dragon Freedom translate or scooch up a little bit closer to the camera angle that we're seeing right here. And then teams will step through procedures to get that side hatch opened. You see it right in the center of your screen there. It's kind of that rectangular shape. It has not been opened since Crew 9, which included Nick Hague, Alexander Gorbanov, launched back in September from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So that will be the very first time that hatch is opened. Once docked to the...
Okay, I'm going to have to jump and get the feed ready for Elon's interview. If you missed it, what's happening now is they're going to pull that capsule up, and then they're going to unload the 4 astronauts, which I showed at the beginning of this stream. So if you want to see the astronauts actually come out, go back to the beginning of the stream and you will see that. So for the next 2.5 minutes or so, I've got to put on basically the I'll be right back thing so I can get to fixing the feed for Elon's interview. I'll be back in probably 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, it took 1 minute. I thought it would take 2 minutes. It took 1 minute. So we are exactly 1 minute away from Elon Musk and his interview on Hannity. We'll take it in its entirety. Again, if you want to see the astronauts actually come out of the capsule, I covered that at the very beginning of the stream. I went live actually early. I was supposed to go live at 7. We went live early to cover when that was happening. And I said, we got to go all the way back and watch the whole thing happen. It was amazing. I cannot believe people were saying, oh, it's AI generated. Oh, you guys are fools for believing this. And I'm thinking, so they made this all up in the ocean. I mean, actually the Gulf of America. They cued the dolphins. It was a Truman Show. Whew, wow. Don't ask me about the moon landing, though. I got some questions about that. But today, that was not BS. That was actually happening. And I cannot believe people were thinking that was AI. No, sorry. That was God. Thank you, Bear. I had no idea. I love it so much. Yeah, it gives you goosebumps. I mean, just watching that thing come flying down from the sky, thank God they didn't burn up. And then after they didn't burn up, then they had to hit the water. And you can imagine that jolt. And I mean, they're strapped in and everything. And then what was so funny to me was they go up, they're up in space for 9 months. They're stranded. They have to come in through the heat. And then they have to try to get, placed on the little pad where the, what do we call it? The capsule was, and that's the one part. It's like, can you just let me out of this damn thing? Can you let me out, please? Okay. You're trying to park this thing. How about you just park it, drop it here and let me come out? I've had enough. I've had enough. Don't make me wait any further. All right, Sean Hannity is doing his intro, but he has not brought Elon out yet. So you guys are used to Sean. Sean will do an interview and talk most of the time himself instead of letting the people talk. But he's showing what happened earlier today, which is just stunning. Just perfect day for them to come back to Earth after being up there for 9 months. Remember, they were stranded. Joe Biden wouldn't ask Elon. You gonna ask me? You gonna ask? Nope, not gonna ask. Okay. What a piece of crap. This is the perfect ending to today. My show today was about the contrast between these two administrations. And I started the day talking about prices and eggs and groceries and taxes and how they were approaching the whole thing with the tres leches and these judges and how they want to infect America. And then it ends with probably the biggest contrast is that feckless administration couldn't go rescue their astronauts. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. And then, of course, the JFK files come out as well. So all this just makes it a good day. Now, I understand. I understand. It might not look like much, but SV sent me something, and there's some interesting documents. There's no conclusions. You just have to read the documents yourself. As soon as this interview's over, I'm going to show you one of the documents that SV sent me. And this one document doesn't mean anything by itself, except to make you go, seriously? Yeah, it's one of those kind of documents, which I'm sure we're going to see more of those kind of documents as we move forward with digging through these 80,000 files. It's crazy. So, that document, well, I don't have time to really get into it, but if you see it, trust me, it is going to make you take a double take. It's going to make you wonder, what in the hell is that? Just to give you a little hint, it's a document that basically discloses from a CIA asset who tells somebody that what had happened, and then all of a sudden he committed suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head. Not here, not here, back here. Yeah, tell me that's real. Tell me that's real. Let's see, he's still talking. He hasn't brought anybody on yet. I'm back. I was putting my Tostitos chips and getting the sauce. In case you didn't see some of the... While Sean is talking, another judge, yet another judge just dropped. Unbelievable. I can show this to you pretty quick. You won't believe this one. Another district judge, low-level judge, says this. Okay, I'll be watching the screen at the same time. Judge Anna Reyes just ordered the military to not enforce President Trump's order banning Transformers from the military. And as George says here, a judge now believes she can tell the commander-in-chief who can serve under him. This is disgraceful. Yep, that's her. Nope, you can't ban them. You're not allowed to ban them. I don't know where this is going to end. It doesn't look good. I'm just telling you, this doesn't bode well for our society. The judges have been activated. They are assets of the deep state. They now realize the Democrats are nothing. I've been telling you, the Democrats are not the opponent. They're done. They have been exposed as being completely feckless. And they've unleashed these judges to do their bidding. They've unleashed these judges to get out there and make the most stupid, insane rulings possible that should be automatically overturned. But it's going to take some time. So Trump has one option because they're pushing him towards it. You can see what's about to happen. It's undeniable. They want Trump to take that step. It's almost like at this point they're daring him. Dare you to ignore these orders. They need him to do that publicly so that the media can do their job. There's no other reason why you would be doing this crazy stuff. Unreal. And it just doesn't end. And I'm watching to make sure we don't miss anything. Yeah, Juck the Fudges. I mean, They want a civil war. They want a constitutional crisis, as they keep saying. It's here. You could tell that judge was a liberal. That judge, if you look her up, she was one of the ones who couldn't even answer certain questions, and they pushed her through. And now she's doing what she's been told to do. Easy fix. What's it say? What? Please put your address out there. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. What the heck is idiot Roberts waiting for? I can't tell you. He's interviewing somebody else now before Elon, so we can continue. So that's pretty bad. So let me go ahead and go to this Kennedy letter, or this piece of evidence in a file. SV sent it to me, and I'm pretty much going to just post this, and then you guys can decide what you want to do with it. Okay, how you want to take this. This is from Nick Sorter, who is a source I do indeed trust. What is this? Because he's doing the same thing I'm doing right now. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's in a file. Okay? CIA connected guy, Gary Underhill, began exposing a CIA clique who supposedly took out JFK and ended up being found dead in his apartment with a wound behind his ear. Back here. Back there. So this guy who decided he was going to take suicide, you know, he shot himself like this. I'm just telling you what the letter says, okay? Okay. Here's the letter, which you can read for yourself here, all right? So as you're looking at this, you can read this. John Garrett Underhill, Samuel George Cummings, and Inter Marco. And you can read it. The day after what happened, Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at the home of a friend in New Jersey. He was very agitated. Excuse me. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the taking out of JFK, he confided. And he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found with a shot in the back of his head. The coroner ruled it a suicide. This was when? 1967. He shot himself back here. Okay. And it just goes on to tell you who the people were involved in it, what kind of gun, all kinds of stuff here. I don't know. This is the kind of thing I was talking about. There's nothing definitive. There's nothing that says, here's the smoking gun. But in this 80,000 pages, there's going to be a whole bunch of these documents that are just going to make you go, what? That don't make any sense. Did nobody talk to this guy? Did nobody have anything to say to him? I don't know. Again, there's going to be a ton of these documents. So even as AI went and scanned it, it couldn't scan some of this stuff because that's not text. That's an image. And even then, it doesn't know what it's looking for. Someone is going to have to read every one of these pages. All of them. All 80,000 plus. That's BS. He was taken out. Yeah. Anybody in law enforcement could tell you, right, was Underhill a trick shooter? Yeah, no, that didn't happen, bro. That didn't happen. Not at all. I ain't buying that at all. Let's see what here. How was he connected to the Clintons and the Bushes? It said 3-letter agency. I know, but there's nothing conclusive about it. He said this to somebody else. They would say it's probably going to be hearsay. But in any event, all these people are gone. There's nobody here to corroborate anything. So all we're left with documents with this guy says this guy says that. And it's going to be up to the American people to decide who they want to believe and who they don't want to believe. Because 60 years later, it's going to be very, very hard to put all these pieces together. But as Trump said, there's some interesting things here. That's interesting. Doesn't mean anything by itself. None of you can conclude from here, oh, but it's interesting nonetheless. Barry, you need some Cepacol sore throat. It's the only thing that I've used to help control a cough. Yeah, but I can't really take one like right now, so I'm kind of stuck. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go off camera, put on Hannity, and I'm going to take one of those things that you said. Hold on one second for the interview. It's likely there is shadow information that never made it to the official files. Yeah, possibly. What else we got here? HRC is a 3-letter agency. No, she would have been a baby back then, so I doubt she was involved. It's always suicide with these people. Yep. Just like that guy on the island. Yep. Always the same. I wish Jim Mars had lived to see the files. I don't know who Jim Mars is. But there's some... Just watch. Just watch. There is going to be more and more of this stuff that comes out. I bet you if I go ahead and refresh, there's all kinds of stuff that's going to come out. People are going to pick out like basically one document at a time and go, hey, take a look at this, take a look at that. Let's see. Okay, so here's another one. So this Gary Underhill document is making its way all over the place. At this point, George just put this out, and while we're waiting for Elon Musk to come on, it's very interesting. This confirms that the 3-letter agency did it. The government did it. Let that marinate. And he's talking about Colin Rugg's file here. The newly released files tell a story about how Gary Underhill, who worked for the agency, was found dead after revealed to friends that the agency was responsible for taking him out. The day after taking him out, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at a friend, so he's just reading the article. Reading the letter. This letter is going to get a lot of play. A lot of people are going to be talking about this letter. I urge you to go ahead and read it for yourself. Again, it's going to be very hard to make any conclusions here. And that's how they want it. There's going to be so many different documents out there people are going to be sharing. And also do yourself a favor and verify, because some people are going to create stuff to try and throw you off. Trust me, that's coming. You're going to see fake documents. Documents that aren't even in a file, but people will put them out there as though they are from the file. So don't fall prey to that stuff. Elon Musk is, to say the least, pissed right now. Let me see if they're cutting. No, they're going to a commercial, so we can wait. Good. So Elon Musk posted this. The U.S. is facing, and Nayib Bukele is actually the president or prime minister of El Salvador. And he says the U.S. is facing a judicial coup, and Elon Musk says 1,000%. This is why they hate Elon. This is why Elon is so terrifying to them. Let's see what else, if anybody has come up with anything else about this. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can bring to you. Not many. I'm looking for the people who like to dig. People like Laura Loomer and people like that who dig into these files. Let me see if the Data Republican has put anything out. Because she digs very, very hard. Still in commercial break. Hold on. No, she hasn't. Okay. Waiting to see if she pulls anything out of here. Not yet. So, just wait. Just see what people pull up. It'll be a lot of information happening all at once, and you'll see it. You'll see it for sure. So you won't even have to read through it yourself. All of our trusty conservative ex-friends will take us on a trip. I wonder how RFK is going to respond. Somebody wrote, where's that? Jonathan said this. I wonder how RFK is going to respond and react to this information. That's assuming he hasn't seen it. You have to wonder what kind of information the Kennedy clan has already had. What do they already know? I mean, they watched cousin, uncle, father, grandfather. Someone in his family had to have been giving some information, and that's just on their side. Never mind on Jackie O's side, her family. Or, JFK Jr.'s wife. Who knows what's been given out there that they don't know? Julie Kelly, she likes to dig. Yes, she's another one. She can get there. But how did he shoot himself in the back of his head? Well, that's not the question. The question is, how did someone in a coroner level position accept that as true? You can say it. Hey man, he put the gun back here, and he did that. Okay. So you're saying that. I'm the coroner, and I'm like, that's not possible. That didn't happen. But they signed off on it 60 years ago. Like, oh yeah, sounds good to me. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Still running commercials. RFK said, "I told you so." Somebody said something very interesting. Where is that? I kind of agree with him. Oh, it's she, Michelle. Michelle says, "Let's go forward. We have so much to deal with right now." I really hope people, and you're exactly right. I hope people don't get bogged down at this point, not to realize the big fight that's right in front of us. And that big fight right in front of us are these judges and everything that they're doing to hurt America. They're trying their best to hamstring President Trump. They're trying their best to do anything they can to slow him down. And they're trying to get him, obviously, to say, F it, I'm going for it. It's obvious at this point. I don't know, like I've said before, I don't know how they can enforce anything. So, I think we're in for something here. Somebody has to answer that question. If you saw today with Laura, in the interview she had with Trump, she can call it an interview, he didn't really say much. He didn't really give any signal as to what he's going to be doing. Sean is back from break. Let's see, we're already at 9:22. About time, Sean, to cut to you. Here we go. It's live. It doesn't look like this is recorded. So,
Texas Senator.
All right. So, sometimes I just feel like, tapping myself on the shoulder. I don't really need that. But things people say, people in that stature say, always makes me feel like I'm saying the right thing. And if you guys joined me for my earlier show today, I said what Elon Musk just said. I didn't use the words ship of America, and if it goes down, we all go down. But what I was talking about is something doesn't make any sense. Taylor Swift, LeBron James, all of these extremely rich liberals who are backing people who want to destroy America. What do you think is going to happen if they get their way? None of what you've worked for. Doesn't matter how many points you scored in the NBA. Doesn't matter how many platinum albums you have. Doesn't matter how many concerts you sold out. If America goes down, then guess what? It's all over. It's done. You're completely just like the rest of everybody else. It becomes Mad Max. You'll be running around trying to figure out how you're going to get gas for something. Your money will be worthless. So to me, I just, like he said, I don't understand. How do rich people, extremely rich, I shouldn't say rich, how do wealthy people think they are going to survive if America goes down the road that these nutty left people want to take it? And I don't think they ever look themselves in the mirror and think to themselves, well, what you mean they talk about me too? Oh yeah. You're just a bigger fish right now. It's like, hey, how you doing? Yo, this is so much fun. Look what they did to Trump as soon as he turned the other way. They want to destroy him. You're only as good as your support for them right now. Good. I dare you. I dare you, Taylor Swift, to tell them you no longer agree with the Democrat Party. I double dog dare you for you to say that. Because we all know inside you really don't. because you obviously don't believe in the climate stuff because you got 2 different jets flying you all around. You obviously don't believe in the fair share stuff, otherwise you wouldn't be charging $5,000 a ticket for VIP sections. So the incongruity that we see, everybody can see, but somehow people on the left are completely blinded by it. She's got 2 jets. She does this. She sells $5,000 tickets. Oh, poor people can't go to her show. That's okay. She likes the left. None of what they say makes any sense. Hey, LeBron, you're a billionaire or close to it. You live down here in South Beach. You had a house down here in South Beach. You got millions and millions. You got toys. You have a movie production company. And you support your own demise. Why would you want to support people that want to see you hurt? They're not going to allow you to keep everything you have. You want proof? Ask Diddy. Now, he did some crazy stuff, but, he was the man. Everybody knew who Diddy was. No, I got nothing to say to you. How's being a Democrat helping him? Even though he, you know what he did. How about them other Democrats who did what they did with Diddy? Sorry, can't talk to you anymore. That's what's going to happen. So when Elon, I wrote it down, when he said, if the ship of America sinks, it takes us all down. And I don't think enough elite leftists understand that they don't have a survival ticket. They're going to get voted off the island just like everybody else. You can hoard food, you can have a gas tank, you can have it all. But if things go down the toilet, guess what? They're going to eat you too. That's how it is. But second thing, Sean Hannity with the stupid questions, man. I know you're on television. You've been on television and radio for a long, long, long time. You're very successful. Yeah, I'm happy you have a Corvette Z06. Paid $150,000 for the car. Yeah, we understand. Big flex. But how did you decide you were going to ask someone a question, a rocket scientist no less? Hey, so let me ask you a question. You know how fast they go up in the air and everything else? Can you tell me how that all works in 60 seconds? I was hoping Elon would just have looked at him and said, Sean, I can't. There's way too much stuff. Lots of math going on here. And he just rattled off things. He goes, this booster and the left booster and the right booster and this has got to happen and that's got to happen. And all those things have to happen flawlessly. If something doesn't happen, we're looking at a charcoal burn. They're done. They're just going to burn up. Everything has to happen perfectly. And on re-entry, everything really has to happen exactly right. Otherwise, you're picking up pieces, hot pieces. And you want him to explain that in 60 seconds. Oh, you kill me. You kill me. And the biggest thing that I guess I was looking at, and maybe you guys saw this as well, Elon wasn't smiling. And he was at the White House, obviously. And I just thought to myself, the weight, literal weight of the world is on this man's shoulders. He confirmed, in case anybody had a doubt, that he offered it to Biden. Biden said no for political reasons. So he confirmed it out of his own mouth. And probably right now, he hasn't had time to decompress himself. You know, the entire time this was happening, he was sitting someplace with a headset on and just watching and just watching. Don't bother me. I'm watching. I can't imagine the pressure he had on him, knowing that these 4 people, and not just the 4 people, but the people on the boat, on the jet ski, and the Spider-Man that was hooking everything up. All those people depended on everything going perfect. And then, probably the biggest part of this, and probably where he had to sit up really close, and go like this is when they open the hatch. And you're like, I hope these people are okay. I hope they're not jelly. They've been up there for 9 months. The average person should be there for, what do you say, 2 or 3 months? They've been up there for 3 times. Their muscle system, everything just, let's hope they're okay. And they open it up and they get the people out. First they brought them in on stretchers, then they put them on the, little recliner seat, and they're giving a thumbs up and everything else. And I just wonder, it's 10 o'clock at night, if he's had the chance to sit back and go, has he been able to exhale? And then while all of this is going on, you got people wanting to take him out. And while all this is going on, he's finding this and this and this and Doge. And while all of this is going on, people are blowing up his dealerships. And he's just a man. And with a little boy and some other kids. And he just looked like, he almost looked like the dude needed to sit back with a nice 25-year-old cup of bourbon and just, okay. And then realize, in a couple hours we got to go do it again, because he said, you know what happened, right? He sent other people up while these people came down. So they're not done. Only one half of the mission is done. There's still people up there. He got to do it all over again. I got to be perfect. I can't make a mistake. And Sean here is asking me really stupid questions. So no, he wasn't smiling, because his job's not done. Just like Donald Trump, his job is not done. I want to go to Mars. I want to do this. I want to do that. Salute that guy. He's brilliant, and he's taking the arrows, and he's trying to make things better for America. He brought home 4 astronauts that were stuck in space for 9 months. And all the left can do is just piss on him. It's so sad if you think about it. Those of you who are praying people, I'm sure you prayed. But it's so sad because there were people hoping something would blow up. They couldn't have waited. They had bated breath. They couldn't wait to get on television and say, oh, Elon failed. Ha 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 ha. It's true. They did it before when he did the test rocket and it blew up. These people are evil. And at the whole time that's happening, I'm like, oh man, I hope everybody associated with this is a good guy. Nobody's trying to sabotage anything. And then it was almost as if, and I'm sure some of you guys felt this, it was almost as if God said, I got you. I mean, all this is going on, and 4 or 5 dolphins, hey, what's up, man? Hey, how you doing? Hey, we're just here checking things out. I'm like, what? Did that really just happen? Am I watching Flipper and the other Flipper just dancing around this thing going, hey, welcome home, dude. Hey, how you doing? You like being in the Gulf of America? Oh, it's so great. I'm like, who wrote that? Excuse me. Yeah. Cue the dolphins. Cue the dolphins. Did they have them under the boat where they're like, all right, release the dolphins. Oh, it was perfect. And then if you watched it, once the what do you call it, the lifty thingy, they left. Sorry, y'all got this now. We're gonna go. Everything okay? Okay, we're gonna go over here. Okay. Loved it. Just loved it. Just made the little kid in me just go, wow. So because that's what I was thinking. I just know witches were praying for failure. Now, before I leave you, I have 1 minute of video. 1 minute. Just 1 minute of video I want you to see. As you guys know, I spent the weekend down here in South Florida, and Ashley and the kids came down, and a couple of their friends came down, and we were able to enjoy the craziness of spring break. Now, a little bit to our south is where Miami is. Miami. With all the live nuts in Miami, I want you to see what happened in Miami. I think it was tonight, maybe last night. This is awesome. If it has music, I may have to kill the music because I'm not really sure if, excuse me, not really sure if it's copyrighted, so here we go. This is a drone show that took place in Miami. A drone show commemorating Donald Trump. I love seeing these things. It's amazing. But they did a drone show for Trump. How awesome is this? How awesome is this? World's best deal. Right over the bay. It looks like this is Biscayne Bay in Miami. Liberator of hostages. Defender of freedom. Absolutely. This is how I want to end the show. Stronger together. Fight. I may have to incorporate this into a new outro. Fight hatred. Fight anti-Semitism. And do the dance. Do the Trump dance. You gotta love it. That's a drone show of that proportion. I was like, that's it, man. That's it. That's what we need to see. That was so cool. I wish I was there. I'm going to see tomorrow if I can find more of it. SB sent that to me again. He plucked that out of the air. It was fantastic. All right, so let me go ahead. First thing first, we got to give away some hoodies. Let's go ahead and give away some hoodies. Wait 1 second. Then I'm going to take my butt to bed. Actually, I'm going to go drink some soup. Then I'm going to go to bed. In that order. Today's Tuesday. Oh, this is FBI night on television. You guys ever watch the FBI show? All right, wait a minute. FB. What do you say? SV just texted me. Hold on. Glad you're posting. It's amazing. It was truly amazing. Absolutely, it was. All right, so we're going to give away some hoodies. Let's do this, and I got to do the super chats, and then I go to bed. All right, here we go, and randomly pick one winner. Natasha Posey, you have won a free hoodie. Natasha. Next up is Esther Stalcup. You have won a free hoodie, and we'll go with one more tonight, and that will be Debbie Loeffler. Congratulations. You have, you have won a free hoodie. Thank you. Ashley will be getting in touch with you, so you guys will know it real soon. So somebody goes, totally staged. LOL. Yeah, it was AI. Yeah, that was really awesome. I got to see if there's a full-length video. If there's a full-length video, I will definitely. Oh yeah, I forgot. My bad, Jane. You know, I'm a little under the weather, so please forgive me. I didn't get the hoodies. The drum roll the way it's supposed to. But yeah, if I can find the full-length video of that, I'm gonna grab that, and I may have to do a sound check on it to make sure that it's not copyrighted, so to get myself in trouble. So if it is, and I can use it, then I shall use it, and I'll probably put something together as another outro. So here we go. Super chats. Sherry Clem, Barry, please listen to Ronald Reagan's speech, A Time for Choosing in 1964. It's very pertinent and learning from the beginning. Okay. Grok says from Mama Mima, 300 to 4,600 pages were withheld. Mountain Goddess, Clinton Hill, the Secret Service agent that jumped behind JFK's limo, died less than a month ago on February 24, 2025. Wow. Huh. So he lived 60-something. Wow, he must have been like close to 90. Job for 9. Boeing is grateful those two did not die up there. Yeah, exactly. Jeff 26, 8 different ships, and they couldn't hitch a ride with any of them. It took Elon SpaceX to do it. Yep, it did. Jose Bazil, I wouldn't transport garbage on Boeing Starliner. Bobby Wright, thank you. Beverly Litton, Trump can't forbid in the Supreme Court to do the right thing. Barrett and Roberts have TDS. They're not going to have a country. If they don't step up, we will not have a country. Tim McMurray, yes, today. Yes. First birthday of, well, not of fanfare, just to be clear. It's not the first birthday of fanfare. It's the first day that I started doing political commentary. So, yes, thank you very much. I forgot about that. I forgot about that myself. Today's 1 year. Beverly Lytton, Beautiful Skies and Water was. Cutting Edge. Asking Grok this. JFK files all the suspects' names and connections, what Oswald have previous to the attempt, and family that shows you more names than possible suspects. Good prompt. Tilly, thank you, Elon, and God bless you. Nathan Hardcastle, I was expecting to see Planet of the Apes character popping out of the recovery capsule. See, well, most people are probably not going to be old enough to get that reference in terms of what Charlton Heston did and everything else. The first one was the good one. You guys may have seen the ones that they've made since then, but the first one was the best. Captain Danny Barrow, Justice Roberts is compromised. Just another knucklehead. I was wondering, could another judge make a different ruling in favor of Trump? What happens if you have two orders that contradict each other? If you have two orders that contradict each other, then you have none, basically. Maria Treadway, Elon, he's looking so tired and he's stressed. Bet he is. Stephen Rhodes, where'd that go? Stephen Rhodes, hot scotch made with peppercorn and honey, one shot. You talking about for Elon? For me? That sounds like all right with me, but I don't drink. Robert Husbands, please thank Elon from all of us on your show. Yes, for sure. Manga Mama, prayers for a speedy recovery. Thanks for another great show. Thank you very much. Soul Rack, please explain the whole landing SpaceX like I'm blind. Okay, so I'm explaining. Let me go through and I'll go to full screen. Awesome show. Thank you, Barry and team. We are so back. Thank you, Neo. Stephen Hale. God bless you, Barry. Keep up the good work. So, Soriak wants me to explain the whole SpaceX thing. He's blind. Okay. So, a rocket? Well, before that, they put people up in a space station. And in the space station, they were supposed to come home. They couldn't get home because our rockets didn't work. So, Elon went to President Biden and said, I'll go get them. And Biden said, thanks, but no thanks. And so they sat there for 9 months. Trump got elected, asked Elon, can you go get him? Elon said, yeah, I can get him. So Elon constructs the Uber rocket, sends the rocket up into space, docks, opens the door, open up. I got some Instacart and Uber Eats. And they open the door, and the new astronauts go in. The old astronauts come out. They push off like a boat. They float around in their tin can. Then they fire up the engines and come speeding back to Earth at about 17,000 miles an hour, just flying. And then they back off because it separates. And now this thing is floating by itself, coming down really, really fast. And then when they get about, 1,000, 2,000 meters, whatever it was, 6,000, the first parachutes deploy and slows it down. And then when they get to about 1,000 meters, about, a little bit off the ground, poof, the new parachutes open up and it lightly falls into the ocean. And at that point, the director of the show cued the Spider-Man to come hook it up and bring it to the boat. And then the producer said, cue the dolphins. And he turned on the switch and the dolphins came swimming out with the Spider-Man in the capsule. Then the capsule gets pulled into the big boat, gets raised up, and then they go in and they let the guys out, and now they're in a hospital. Because gravity sucks. So that's what happened today. That's everything that happened today. In about 60 seconds, there for you. All right, everybody. What a day. What a day. I was happy to do that, and I enjoyed seeing all that happen. So, thank you guys very much. Talk to you tomorrow. And we're here.
Bye.